So the Legend Series cigars. So I'm assuming this is another business venture that came to you. Is it your partner Gary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gary. Yeah.
So how did that come to fruition?
Well, we was over in DR doing some charity work. Gary has a foundation, and one of his Gary's originally in the auto part industry.
Okay.
So one of his customers is Dominican, and asked would Gary come over there and help, bring supplies over there, from school supplies to baseball equipment and what have you. And so that's how he got kind of started over there. Then he asked would I come over there and do a basketball clinic. And so I said, sure. I always wanted to go to DR and just experience that. I heard it was a beautiful country. And went over there, did a basketball clinic over there for the children over there. And then I told him, Gary, because Gary didn't smoke cigars.
Yeah.
And so I said, we in tobacco country.
Yeah.
I have to go to a factory. And so the guy who brought him over there say, I have a cousin that's that works for, he was a master blender.
Sure.
And so he worked for one of the factories over there. So we went to the factories and showed me around. I was just blown away how
it's crazy, right?
It takes to roll one cigar. It's just amazing.
It's an incredible process.
If you haven't never done it, do it. Go over there to a factory and just see how a cigar is made. And so went over there to the factory and they brought me in there to the rollers and they asked me did I want to roll a cigar. And I was like, sure, I'll roll a cigar. One of the most ugliest cigars
Yeah, it's not always the best your first time around. I did it too. It was miserable.
I know, right? But I was just intrigued by the whole process, what it takes in order to roll a cigar. Then we went to the tobacco fields and, went into where they store all the bales of tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
Stuck my hand. They say, stick your hand in the bale. I couldn't believe how hot it was in there, inside the bale when I stuck my hand in there. And they was telling me how long it takes in order to cure tobacco and what have you. And so,
how hot was it when you?
Oh, it was hot.
Yeah,
I mean,
like almost burn your hand hot.
Almost burn your hand hot. I really just could stick my hand in there for a little bit and had to pull it back out.
All right.
But they flip it, continue to flip the bales and stuff like that. So I was blown away by that. Then Gary said, we started with one room in there. We used to sit in because Gary owns this whole complex. And so we used to sit in that room in there when we first started with the cigar lounge. And we were just thinking like, man, this would be a great room to, open up. And because we had guys coming in smoking and what have you. Then we just started with that one room, then eventually expanded to another room. Then expanded to this and another room. And so we just kind of took our time with it. Then Gary said, let's roll back. The master blender, he said, I always wanted to open up, my own cigar company. And he said that there's a factory that just closed down called American Cigar. It just closed down. We went up to saw the factory and everything was intact. The presses, everything was intact. And it was in the heart of the tobacco field. And literally the workers was like from me to you, basically, to right across the street. And Gary said, what'd you think? I was like, I don't know anything, tobacco selling or anything like that. He said, well, this guy knows business, about the business and what have you. So we said, you know what? It's not going to cost us nothing. It's cheap to do business down there, obviously. And so we just got started with him and come to figure out he was great at what he does, but he wasn't a great businessman. And so we had to finally close down the facility. And the guy that he left said that he was looking for a partner.
Wow.
And so Gary said, what do you think? I said, we might as well join up with him.
Right.
So he knows the business and what have you. And so we joined up with him and eventually we got going and started, doing our own cigars and what have you, and started selling it at the lounge, which was going very well. Then the quality started to fall off.
Quality control, yeah.
Yeah, quality control. As you know, with cigars, you have to be on top of the draw and what have you. And so we end up falling out of business with him. And then Gary found another. He's persistent.
It looks that way.
Very, very persistent.
You need one of those guys.
Yeah.
You need one of those guys.
And so he found a roller over there that rolls for Christoph Cigars.
Oh, okay.
And and he was terrific. And we've been rolling with him ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the Stanford Cigar Lounge started in that room back there, and then it grew to this room, and it grew to that room back there.
Yeah.
So for the people that are watching and listening, it's one room as soon as you walk in, and there's a big lounge in the second section, and there's another big lounge with a pool table.
Yeah, that's my section. That's my section back there.
That's his section.
As soon as I
right
walked in, I was like, oh, this is where I'm going to be. They got the poker table, they got the pool table, they got the darts. I was like, I like this room.
It's a great spot. I mean, and I'm sure you host events here. You do all the sporting events. And
we do events. We do, cigar tasting. We do liquor tasting.
All right. Love it.
Do a number of people come in, they want to rent out the spot for bachelor parties,
sure,
all kinds of things. So we've been going very strong. We're happy, got a great membership, and we'll continue to build on it, year after year.
Wow. And you've been in business for 10 years?
About 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to 10 years.
Yeah, cheers to 10 years.
That. That's good. That's good stuff.
Cheers to many more.
Yeah.